lasting in the 19th century. Can you imagine? It's even older than me. And it states that anybody 80 years old or older can speak at any time, and everybody younger than 80 has to listen. Mike and I are the only ones.
Those rules seem unfair. You guys can't run these. You tell them to hand one out, I just follow orders.
When I was born in 1932, things were pretty rough. Germany was in deep depression, and I actually was born with my parents not being married. My parents didn't get married till I was 4 years old. I don't know the real reason, but I could figure two things out. Number one was strictly economical, because my father didn't have a job. 33% of Germans were unemployed. I was one of them. and so was my father. Or it was the other way, that my father wanted to wait and see if I was a keeper. I could have told him that in 1952, because after I was born, they broke the mold. There was only going to be one Elschmidt. Anyways, but we had a good life. My mother and I lived with her parents, and my father lived with his mother. And so it worked out good. And when I was 4 years old, we moved in with his mother. We had a huge apartment, over 2,000 square feet, right in the middle of town. It was beautiful, and I really enjoyed it there. I'm getting a little bit ahead. I wanted to tell you one thing. Henry David Thoreau said, "The mass of men lead lives of desperation. I did not lead a life of desperation." So, when we were 4 years old, we moved in with my other grandmother, and as I was 6 years old, I started grammar school. But between 6 and 10 years old, something happened to me that carried way over into my life, and it was that at certain times I saw something, or something happened to me that I thought, well, this happened to you before, but not in this life. Or I saw something and I said, well, I was there before, but not in this life. So that was the first inkling about reincarnation. Now I have to go fast forward to 1965 to Buffalo, when I attended a lecture in a Catholic university that was on Edgar Cayce and reincarnation. Once I heard this, I was convinced that I lived before and I'm going to live again. There's no doubt in my mind. Now you can all call me a kook or nuts. I have plenty of company. I don't even think about you. I have Henry Ford, General George Patton, Thomas Edison, Einstein, one of them, and of course millions of Buddhists. And by the way, Buddhists never start a war. You can look at them. They know better. Because you pay for it sooner or later. Okay. So anyways, at age 6, I started grammar school, and that worked real fine. After 4 years of grammar school, I passed the entrance exam for prep school, and the next 6 years I spent in the prep school. It's a very strict school. We learned 4 languages, including German, and the other 3 we started with one, added another one, and ended up currently studying 4 languages. Plus, science was excellent, mathematics. So it was an excellent school and prepared me for everything to come afterwards. I finished my formal education at age 21, and I worked with a company that I practiced for 3 years. I stayed there till I went to the United States. When I was 20, I started jiu-jitsu, and 2 years later I started judo. And we don't want to talk about judo today, because when it comes to judo, you know, I'm more Japanese than the Japanese. Anyways, so another high point was in 1954, my uncle came from Buffalo. My father's brother came to visit us. and he was there for 6 weeks, and we talked a lot. And I asked him once, I said, because when I finished, I had studied engineering, and I finished it when I was 21. And I asked him, I said, do you think I forgot something. I forgot something real big. When I was 8 years old, I read my first book. My father gave me a book. It was about 500 pages, and it was about the old American West. I think that's when I started thinking about going to the United States.
He wanted to be a cowboy.
I didn't want to fight the Indians. I wanted to fight with the Indians against the bad white man. Anyway, that was the first thing that happened. Then, as we went on, in 1954, when Mountain came, I asked him, and I said, do you think I could make it in the United States? He says, yes, if you want to come over here, I'll help you, I'll sponsor you. At that time, you needed the sponsor, okay? You couldn't just walk in, besides you can't swim across. So this was in May of 1954, and the next very important date was June 6th. There was the day where I met the love of my life. And now she's still the love of my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways.
Nice weather we're having, isn't it?
When we met was really playing theater. I didn't even want to go to this thing. My friends talked me into it. They had a play going. It was a story play about our town. And I didn't want to go, but he said, let's go. And I walked into this big hall, I looked up the stage, and there was this young woman standing there. And I took one look at her, and then lightning struck me. And when I came to, well, that was it, you know. So by the end of the night, I asked her about her name, and I found out that 2 of her cousins went to school with me. And I asked her if I could bring her home. She said, you don't want to do this because I live about 5 miles out of town. I said, that's nothing. I had a bicycle, she had a bicycle, my friend could only do so. From that day on, we were pretty much inseparable. And a year later, I still hadn't made up my mind if I wanted to come to the United States, but a year later I asked her once, I said, would you go with me to the United States? Or to America, I said. She said she would do anything once.
I try anything once.
I forgot to tell her she should get high boots.